Hey, everybody, welcome back. Adam Flowers here. It is July 11th, Wednesday, Redness Day. And we're going to be talking today about somebody we've had on the show multiple times. And it looks like a documentary is being worked on about him. So we're going to be talking about John the Bulldog Drummond. So stick around, guys. It is Mob Vlog. Red Woman,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm fine.
Excellent. It's good to see you today, and welcome in everybody who's coming in. If you guys are watching live, it's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time in Chicago, and we're going to be talking about somebody who covered a lot of the Chicago outfit, covered a ton of it for a lot of years, and we're going to be discussing John the Bulldog Drummond. So Jim Yeager, welcome in. Dave M, Frank Ferraro, outfit guy, the shovel. How are you guys doing? Welcome into the show. It's good to have you guys with us, and we're excited today to be talking about this this topic. As we've had John on the show how many times now, right?
I think it was 3.
3 times total, I think. Yeah. 3 times he's come on. Damn interesting to talk to. Sharp as a tack.
Right there. He still is, evidently.
Well, if you watch the video,
when I talked to him, he talked about footage that he brought home from the station. But I think what they're talking about in licensing it in his movie or documentary is never be seen footage. It's things he brought home, but they have to get a license on it before he can actually make a movie out of it or use it in a movie. It's probably.
How you doing, Duke? You got the phone going?
Yeah.
So,
that killed that.
so the Hey, Duke, how you doing, Duke?
He just heard you. Come here.
Did he? Noisy little guy today. That's the same kind of balls that my dog have. A little loud.
He loves ball. It's just that was about the best thing I ever got for him because he carries that around like a security blanket. You know.
Yeah, they do. It's like they're whoopee.
He'll beat you to death with his tail too. He's wagging his tail. He's getting big at him.
I know. It looks like he almost knocked you over.
He does knock me over. That's a regular thing when I'm walking because he'll jump in the center of my chest or he'll jump on my back. He likes to play with me like I'm a toy.
Better teach him not to do that. One day he's going to jump and knock you over.
He has knocked me over. It's luckily he hasn't hurt me.
That's what I mean.
If I say something to him, he'll cringe like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." So, okay, that's enough.
Christina Morris, welcome into the show. Good to see you today. Christine is a member of the channel. Philip,
member of mine also. Thank you, Christina.
Philip Wright, good to see him. Bruce City, listening. Have closed to fold. Won't see chat consistently. That's all right, Bruce City. Just listen along, man. It's all good. So, things that John the Bulldog Drummond covered. What do you think we can expect to see in this documentary, Red?
Oh, I think he's going to cover Tony Accardo. I think he's going to cover Joya Yupa. I think he's going to cover the Tylenol murders because he actually did those. These are stories that he did. And if it's never, I've seen a lot of his footage. I followed him close over the years. I'm sure I'm going to be in there. I've been in every book he wrote. I was in it. He devoted a chapter to me. So I would think that, I was a story to him. And Cy Jane was a story to him. He had some footage on Cy Jane. And he did a whole interview with Cy Jane. It was interesting.
So the guys that are working on this and putting it together, I reached out to them yesterday, day before, and asked them if this was a flexible GoFundMe. In other words, is it an all or nothing or a flexible? I guess there's two types of GoFundMe. So for those of you not familiar with it, if they reach their goal, which is $100,000, they make the documentary. If they don't reach the goal, they still make the documentary. They just use what they can, I guess. So it's already shot. They just need to license footage, and we wrote back and forth a little bit, and they said that the teaser for it even has some footage that's never before seen. Didn't John do interviews with some of the outfit guys that were never aired?
Yes, he
like
did.
Whom?
Oh, I don't think he ever aired anything he did with a Yupa.
Mm-hmm.
And on the street in front of the Dirksen building, there were several guys that he did interviews with. I never saw him do an interview with Louis Ebele, but I believe he did one on the street as he was going into the courtroom or something like that. But there's another one that he told me about with Chucky Nicoletti, where he was at a courtroom on the what they called the North Branch in Skokie, and they did something that was kind of unique. Somebody came up and pushed him, so they would create a ruckus, and he'd lose track of what was going on, and whoever it was escaped out the back door, so they couldn't catch a camera. So then he waited by the back door, hoping to get him the next appearance, and then he went out the front door. So he said, these guys are slick sometimes. He told me. He said, when they want to get away, they get away.
Yeah. What about Alan Dorfman?
He also did an interview with Antoine Giancana, Sam Giancana's daughter.
Antoinette?
Yes. He did an interview with her. What about Alan Dorfman? He covered it. He just said, suspects. Nobody was named at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been kind of decided by everybody that was involved, at least in Strike Force at the time. Mitch Mars was convinced that in Family Secrets that Schweiss actually did do that murder. So there's a lot of things that people, they know or they think they know how it happened and who did it. They just don't have all the details, and they didn't charge them, or they're dead. People are dead. There's a whole mess of people that talk about the Splotcho murders and what actually happened. And there's a few. I don't like these people. Some they'll turn around and say, "Well, Nick Calabrese's testimony was, and he never said this. He never said that." But you know what he did say? I wasn't looking all the time. I was scared. I did not look all the time. So I can't name everybody that was there.
Brett, we got this pulled up here, the GoFundMe reel, and I think the audience, I think they'd like to see it. So Art Kelly,
Art Kelly. I was going to ask you before we went on the air. Have you heard from Art Kelly? Is he safe out there?
Yeah, crazy shit out there in LA. Art's a buddy. He's a memorabilia dealer and a super nice guy who's a friend of Frank's. Frank Colada's.
He's stuck in LA.
and now Art's a friend of mine. and yeah, man, be safe out there, Art. Okay, let's roll this reel. I'm sure they won't mind. Let's show the reel, and then we can put in the description and all after the video too, the link if you guys do want to go and make a donation to this GoFundMe for John the Bulldog Drummond's documentary, which 95, and he says that in this, so he does say that in this. So here we go.
Those numbers around, I bet 59.
I didn't hear you. What?
He would like to switch those numbers around, I bet, to 59 instead of 95.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if anybody could, but if you get up there, you start to go he wakes up in the morning, oh, to be 91 again, you know. That's, all right, let's go ahead and present this. Check it out, guys. This is the Bulldog GoFundMe reel. All right, check it out. Let's take a look.
Most folks around Chicago know me as Bulldog. See, for nearly 50 years, I chased stories through the city's darkest alleys, courtrooms, and street corners, uncovering some truths others wanted hidden. I'm 95 years old now, and I'm here asking you for your support to tell the biggest story of them all, Chicago's outfit, as I witnessed firsthand when it was in its heyday. I covered mob hits, corruption, and trials involving some of the most notorious figures, Sam Giancana, Tony Accardo, Joey Lombardo, names that still echo in the back rooms of Chicago's history. But behind those headlines are deeper stories, personal encounters, and truths only I can share. What many don't know, I also made appearances in Hollywood films like The Fugitive, Chain Reaction, and Above the Law, a nod to how closely my life intersected with stories of crime and justice. This documentary, Bulldog, Inside the Chicago Outfit, isn't just another mob tale. It's a journey through my eyes that saw crime and power collide. We've already filmed some incredible moments, including my returning to some of my old haunts, like the stomping grounds of Lower Wacker Drive, which at my age was not an easy task, but telling the full story never is. Your contributions will help us complete the documentary. Funds will be used to cover archival footage rights, production expenses, and essential post-production work to ensure that this film is as gripping and authentic as the story it reveals. Together, we can bring to life an era of Chicago history that's fading from memory, but remains vital to understanding our city today. I've dedicated my life to truth no matter the cost. And with your help, we'll make sure that these truths aren't lost. Please consider contributing and sharing our campaign. I want to thank my friends and colleagues for any support you can offer. It truly means the world to me. A significant portion of the funds will go directly toward licensing archival footage, which is essential to telling the story the right way. Thank you for believing in the power of storytelling and in Bulldog.
I think this is going to be his memory. This is his big deal. He wants to be remembered for this. That's what I think.
Well, sure. I mean, it's a legacy. The guy, you know, I mean, how many years did he spend as a reporter?
50.
You know, I remember him from when I was a kid hearing him. I mean, when I heard his voice, I immediately recognized it.
I remember him from the 70s.
And I wasn't interested in the news as a kid, but the parents, they had it on the TV, so I recognized the voice. Don't remember what he talked about, but I recognized the voice when I heard him.
Well, several times he pitch hitted for Bill. I'm trying to think of his last name. He was a anchor. Mr. Hoffman says he already donated. That's good. Gladly donated.
That's
Bill Curtis. Bill Curtis and him were like buddies. And Bill retired. He had Bill Curtis Productions. And he retired. He did some different things on his own. And he moved out to a cattle ranch and lived out there for a while. But John has shared a lot of things with me personally. And he's been a good friend. He really has all these years. Terrific guy. Really is. He's got one hell of a story too.
Yes, he does. Rico Suave, greetings from Kansas City. Good to all law and order here currently. I'm in Kansas City. But it's like bring that shit down to Florida. It's not gonna happen.
No.
Here we go. Baker Productions.
They had
a
couple of problems in Jacksonville.
Hey guys, this is Josh, co-director of the documentary. Happy to try and answer any questions you have. Well, thank you, Josh, for coming and joining in the chat. Sorry we didn't get back and forth fast enough in the emails when Red and I talked about doing this today, but we thought, geez, it's such big news that you guys are putting this together. audience on this channel would definitely be interested in hearing about it and in possibly supporting your project. So, guys, if you have any questions,
Can you
for
send
John.
him a link? Can you send him a link and he can join us?
If we can, I mean, we're already on air, but if you want to, we'll send you a link, Josh, if you want to jump in. Yeah, we can still do that. It's not a problem. Just let us know if you'd like to. And guys, if you have any questions for Josh, put them in the chat. We'll read them and see what he has. Josh, tell you what, how about do this? Send me your email. Just text me 702-677-9015. It's the phone number on the bottom of the screen. Send a text there of your email address and I'll send an invite over and we'll get Josh right on here with us. Great. It's awesome. Good suggestion, Red.
Tim Peroni just asked a question. He's not up with it, but Tim, John Drummond, I believe he wrote 3 books, and I know he wrote 2, but I think there's a 3rd one also, and they were all very good. I have autographed copies of each one. That's your answer, buddy.
Okay, so let's keep going through these questions. Yeah, gold getter. Hey, Red, Adam. Good to see you, gold getter. Wow, Jim Magnifici. What a sharp mind at 95. John Drummond does. Every time we've had him on, I mean, super sharp, super sharp guy. I'm going to send these invites over. Red, give me just a second. I have to think.
Okay. So while he's thinking, folks, and sending his invites over, Tim Peroni says, you always, what's he saying here?
Tim Peroni.
To read Bill Romer's books also. I
always want to read Bill Romer's books. Yeah.
Kind regards from the Spaniard in Utah. He's saying something in Spanish. I can't. Here's the shovel. I'd love to hear what the Bulldog heard from the old timers. Yes, he heard a lot. Around Capone's days? No, he wasn't that old. We're talking maybe the 70s. He was on the radio. He was on WLS radio, or excuse me, he'll beat me up for that one. WBBM radio, and then he did TV, and radio. And he may be still doing radio. I don't know. But he started out in radio. Had quite a career. I don't think it goes back to the Capone days, but some of his people went back to the Capone days that he interviewed, and he did talk about it. So this is going to be a surprise to me. Whatever comes out to be, it will be a surprise to me, and I know I'm pretty good.
There we go. Invites are sent off, so hopefully we'll see them in here in a few minutes. The shovel. I'd love to hear what Bulldog heard from the old timers who were around the Capone days. Did you just read that, Red?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, that's what happens when I get distracted.
Well, that's okay, buddy. You're not distracted all the way through the show.
No, but
you're looking good, guy. You're looking good.
Thanks. You look pretty good too, Red. So
I got some new shirts. They're lightweight.
You could grow a little more hair. Then again, so could I.
Is it getting thin?
No, well, it's what happens when you get up there, right?
It could be, or it could be the light.
I don't know, man. Then there's those guys that get hair, like hairlines down to their eyebrows, and it just never. And you go, what the hell? Like
mine really isn't. I mean, I think it's the light because it's always been at this hairline. So
yeah,
it's just a matter of seeing it.
So Tim Peroni, which mobster did he interact with the most? So out of all of them with Bulldog, what was interesting that we talked about with John was the Tylenol murders. And that's a big subject right now because they're doing they dropped a Netflix show. I told you about it's a 3-part series, and they literally lay it out who the Tylenol murderer was. At least
heavy on that story, man.
Yeah. Then again, I just read something that the worst place to get any kind of information is a documentary because they're really biased. And I just watched that Paul Rubin, the Pee Wee Herman documentary, and it's biased. It's like it's what they want you to hear. So I hope that this Bulldog documentary turns out. I think it will. It'll turn out to be very, very.
John is putting his name on it for a seal of approval.
Yeah,
I know how he is about truth.
He's cut and dry kind of guy. So
he told me a long time ago, if you're going to report something, you're going to say something. Yeah. He said, I learned from somebody else, and he told me, I can't remember exactly who he told me he learned from, but he said, if they tell you it's raining outside, don't just bring an umbrella. Make sure you go out there and look and make sure it's raining before you report it.
All right, Red, we have Josh on the stage. Let's bring him into the show and welcome in.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going all right, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. My co-director as well, Peter Lambrinanos, is going to try to hop in as well, but he's running a few minutes late. But I sent him the link, so happy to be here. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell us, how did you get this? How'd this start? I mean, what was your role? And
Sure. So it's kind of a funny story, actually. So my grandfather used to go to this diner all the time up in the northern suburbs, kind of near John. And John would be there all the time. And I actually, at the time, didn't, ironically, so I'm 30 years old. I didn't really know John all that well, just because I didn't grow up with him. And one day, my grandfather brought me there. He introduced me to John. And, so we started talking. And I'm a filmmaker. That's what I love to do. It's not my full-time job, but it's something I've been doing for many years now. And I realized when John, you just let him run, how many stories the guy has. It's unbelievable. So it originally started as I wanted to do it more a story just about John. And then we talked with CBS a little bit, just to, see if there were any interest there. And they did help us in terms of tweaking it and realizing that it was better to shape it more through his eyes and more about the characters involved. So,
how about Ed Marshall? Do you have Ed Marshall on board?
We are still in the process of getting Ed Marshall as one of the people on standby that we plan to have. So like as of right now, we probably have, it must be like 4 hours of interview footage with John. So we did, and I think I showed a picture there in the trailer. We drove John to Lower Wacker. We found a spot that was like, we wanted something a little gritty. I mean, obviously he operated more out of the federal building, but wanted something seedy that felt like it kind of fit the mood a little bit. So we parked down there. John's 95. Thankfully, as you just mentioned, he's sharp as a tack. Physically, unfortunately, he's got some issues with his knees. But, with us, all of us there to support him, we walked him over, sat him down, and we must have done like an hour and a half interview, all about the outfit and, operations and just different things that he covered. And it was really great and looks absolutely phenomenal. And then we kind of put together essentially a little teaser, just
sizzle reel.
Yeah, exactly. Just unfortunately, there's a lot of footage that's used in the teaser, and this is the tricky part. So specifically, he operated a lot with CBS. He has some other stuff that is not CBS related, but all of that archival footage is incredibly expensive to license.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking like, just to give you a rough, I think for footage that's aired, you're talking $85 a second. And so
he used to be with CBS before Westinghouse bought them. And then Westinghouse bought them and Westinghouse sold them. Each time it's sold, it's a different price.
Exactly.
I knew him from going back in the 70s, 1973, 1974, 1975, that era.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
I went a long ways. And he did a couple interviews with me.
Oh, that's great. I know. Yeah, you guys had mentioned that he's been on the show a few times, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Very sad thing was I've known him, and he's helped me with a couple things. And, he's good to me. I needed a couple things, and he sent it to me. As a matter of fact, I was commenting about his last couple interviews that he's done. It seems like it was in his home, and I think he was doing them in his home. He wasn't doing, or he was going down to the radio station. He talks about going down to the radio station a lot.
Sure.
I don't know if he's still doing that or not.
He still does a radio show, I think, out of his house. That interview or that little GoFundMe video that I shot that you guys just played, that was in his house in Wilmette.
I thought it was. I didn't say anything, but I thought it was.
Yeah, that's his bookcase. That's all his. I just arranged it to make it look a little nicer. He has his Emmys in the backdrop there. But it's unbelievable. And the photos the guy has, I mean, they're just everywhere, like newspaper clippings.
Big house, man. That's a big house.
So, I've been spending a lot of time culling through all the material that I can get. Like, I can't even tell you how many different things I have scanned, just newspaper clippings of him, any, residual footage that he has on standby, just all sorts of things. It's just, unfortunately, it's a matter of we can't show anything that has the footage in it because CBS and all the other networks, that mostly CBS, they unfortunately, and it's true, they take that stuff very seriously. So you have to be very careful. So that in itself has been the biggest hiccup in this whole process. But I mean, the guy is, you just said, as sharp as a tack. We covered everything, a lot of Tony Accardo, a lot of Sam Giancana, the Spilotro brothers. I mean, we kind of go through it all. We even start, kind of at the beginning, even with Al Capone. Obviously, he didn't cover that, but just trying to give a little bit of history for those that aren't aware of like how the Chicago outfit, like where it originated from, and kind of how it built up from there, and then obviously to what it was in 70s and 80s.
Did you use a timeline like Crooks, Capers, and Cops, like his book?
We did. So like he has, it's funny you bring that up. He has a video that's kind of like a highlight reel of his titled Crooks, Characters, and Capers.
I remember that video.
Yeah, I think you can actually, someone must have posted it. It might be on YouTube if I'm not mistaken, or ask some of it.
It's on YouTube.
Yes. So yeah, we were able to like use some of that footage. I mean, he's got some great interviews with like, even forget just outside the mafia, Elizabeth Taylor. I didn't even realize he told me he has, but it was done with his previous radio station. He did a whole interview with Nixon. He walked down Michigan Avenue with him for like 30 minutes and had a whole conversation. This was before he was president.
I think he did one with Jimmy Carter also, when Jimmy Carter came to Chicago. There's
a quick clip of him of Carter he's got with Reagan as well, because apparently they used to work together. I think back in his radio days. I mentioned Elizabeth Taylor, Muhammad Ali. I mean, he's all of them, all the big guys.
The Michael Todd burial disruption?
Yeah, so I think, maybe we're thinking of different things.
About Tony Pelicano?
Yeah, I think we did address part of that. I know there was one story he was telling me that's pretty crazy. So apparently there was some big, I forget who it was. He would remember. I'll have to ask him. Some big mafia funeral, and they were everyone was there. And I think actually I might have access. I'm waiting to get it digitized to that footage, but essentially all the big guys were going to be there, and they were actually going to fly out Frank Sinatra as well to attend.
I believe that was Sam Giancana's funeral.
That's probably who it was. And he said, I was so pissed because he had been planning this for a while, and so he was planted like way out back, trying to play cool so that no one noticed. And then one of the other news stations, I think it was NBC, came in with a big camera on their shoulder, and then they called it off. And of course, Sinatra never showed up, and I think Dean Martin was supposed to be there.
He wasn't.
And so neither of them ever showed.
That was in 1975.
1975, yeah, that sounds about right. Yes.
I remember.
So Josh, have you made any other documentaries before this one or previously?
So this is not my first documentary. However, my co-director, they have. So they did one on the genocide of the Greeks in the late 20s. That was a pretty big documentary, and they've done a few other things. They've done so one of the producers, so my co-director Peter Lembernatos, he used to work with CBS, and his father, who's also a part of this project, who was actually down with us on Lower Wacker doing some of the camera work, was a cameraman for CBS. So he worked with John. So he knows John very well. Peter knows John very well. And then I met John through my grandfather, but it just so happened that we all kind of collaborated on this process just in different ways. But now we're all involved.
I wonder, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go over here.
It's okay.
I wonder which cameraman, he grabbed a cameraman to come and see me and interview me in silhouette.
Sure.
I was in silhouette at the time. And
What
I
year
wonder
was
which
this?
cameraman he brought with him, because I told him, I said, you can only bring one cameraman with you. I don't want a whole crew coming. And
Sure.
he really kept me in silhouette and kept me really, I was in a rough spot at the time. He was really
Okay.
good.
It could have been him. I guess it depends on what year it was.
The station used it. Well, it was 1989.
Oh, could have been. Yes, his name is Spiro Lebernatos. Yes. Oh, it is. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So he's been involved. He brought his camera down as well. You know, we all have our own equipment, and then I handled. I can't even tell you how many hours just for the teaser alone we spent probably going over every single little detail, because what we're trying to do with this, if you guys have ever seen the Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah, I just watched it.
It's unbelievable, and one of the things I love about it is how fast it moves. And so we're trying to replicate that in the same manner of really keeping up the pace, covering all the characters, covering the full timeline, but making sure that there's no lull points. So we have a lot of cool shots. So when we brought John down, my co-director Peter, we brought him. He hasn't smoked a cigar in, I think, he said like 40 years.
Yeah.
We busted it out, and he had no problems with it. He took it like a champ.
He loves the cigars. He used to anyway.
Yes. So we have some amazing slow-mo shots of him smoking. We brought the cap, obviously, which he hasn't worn for quite a while. He has a whole array in his closet, so we really made sure to tailor it to bring him back to his glory days. I mean, even his outfit, like I think his suit jacket,
he
used to wear.
One suit jacket, he always used that, and the hat.
Yes, exactly.
What do they call that? A newsman's hat or a newsboy's hat.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a collection of them. He had a winter one, a summer one.
Yes. Also, I just saw there's a question in the chat. What sources to gain history/info on the outfit? Yeah, honestly, I've learned the most just through talking with John. So, I can't even tell you how many lunches and breakfasts I've had with him now. He's such a great guy. And I love talking with him. And every time you talk, there's something new that comes out. So he's been my biggest source of information for the real stuff. I've, of course, have been watching any sort of documentaries that are available. I've checked out your channel now, trying to go through and educate myself as much as possible on the material. And then, of course, because my co-director as well as my fellow producer as well, they were in it in the late 80s, even early, late 70s too, I believe. So they're able to help elaborate on a lot of the things that I'm not as well aware of, just because obviously I'm younger and didn't grow up with it. So I'm trying to educate myself in as many ways as possible.
I have some footage in my room of Facebook where it says nobody cares and what I did about it. I have some footage at the Dirksen building when John's talking about it, of me and other people also. This is about family secrets. And I really felt bad for John, because I think other people may know this, but you don't, I'm sure. But John tried to say hi to me, and I had agents in front of me, 2 agents in front of me, and a couple agents on each side, and they knocked him down. And I felt so bad. That was back in 2007.
Wow. So Josh, did you put the GoFundMe together?
I did.
Cool. So I guess some of the viewers, the questions that they have, and that I've thought of, it's $100,000 you're looking to raise on the GoFundMe, mainly for licensing of the very, very, very expensive footage that you guys want to show. So I could see that that's going to cost a lot. And then, of course, you're editing, video editing, sound enhancement, all of those things, and of course, distribution and film festivals. If, let's just say, you don't hit the goal of $100,000, people who make donations, do they get the donation back, or does the GoFundMe just go forward with whatever money they raise?
We plan on going forward with it. I personally made a promise to John. I told John personally, I said, I promise you we will get this done one way or another. Even if we can't, we can even
legacy. This is going to be his legacy.
Exactly. Even if we can only use 2 minutes of footage, we will get it done. The reason for that number is just we want it to be as good as it possibly can. And the thing is, for people that are not in the film industry, unfortunately, we tried, like with the teaser, I did all the editing myself along with Peter and Spiro. We really worked hard on it. It's just a matter of certain people are just better at certain things. So, for instance, color correction. That's a big one that people often overlook and a very expensive cost. Sound design, that's huge. So, like, I hired a producer in Italy, a guy that I've worked with before, to come up with a theme for John that's kind of like, I mean, you probably heard some of the background music in there. All of that is exclusive music that I own the rights to now, that's specifically for this documentary. So film that's kind of, or music that's kind of noir, that has that nostalgia to it, but also feels modern. So it's all those little things. And then, of course, just general sound design for correcting, like obviously we shot on lower Wachter. We had to correct the sound just because there's a lot of noise down there and that's partly intentional, but you still want to be able to hear John as best as possible. So to answer your question, Adam, the most important part for us is definitely getting the licensing for the footage. I would say if we can at least secure that, that would guarantee for sure an excellent documentary. Even if we don't get the full amount, we could still make it work using photos and things. It's just, as I mentioned, $85 a second is the cost. And that's for footage that has aired. If it's footage that hasn't aired, it's like $120. It's absolutely insane. So if
he's a treasure to CBS. They own him.
CBS does own the rights. I mean, some of it, I believe. I know he worked at another news station prior to this, so we're trying to, once we see all the footage, that some of which he has, and then a lot CBS owns, we're going to see like what we actually need. We're intending for the documentary right now to be probably around 45 minutes.
Have you tapped into his Betamax that he brought home?
Yes, he does have a lot of those.
Yes. I've got one.
Yes.
That he did with me. I said, "Can I have a copy?" And he gave me a copy. I've never used it.
Yes.
So Josh, our audience on here on this channel, they're mainly my age to Red's age, and mid 40s to mid 70s is our audience, and some of them they're skeptical about using something like GoFundMe. Is there a way that people can make contributions without using GoFundMe?
I'm sure there are. I can maybe give an email to. Yeah, I would say probably email if they have any reservations about doing it that way. It's just the reason I did GoFundMe. So Kickstarter was originally what I was going to use, but it's such a hassle to set up, and we've invested so. And by the way, I will mention we've put up a decent amount of our own money already towards this, just to at least get a teaser going. We were trying to make it work with CBS, but things just fell through, for X, Y, and Z reasons. It's hard to say. CBS has a lot going on right now. Yeah. So
I was thinking about that too. It's not what it used to be. As John used to say, the old gray mare isn't what it used to be.
Right. And so no hard feelings for them against that. So the reason we did GoFundMe, though, is at least there's no time window. So you can continue to raise money essentially indefinitely until you basically turn off the
Turn it off.
for sure.
Is
Kickstarters are usually like 30 days.
Venmo or a Cash App?
Yeah, you know what? Let me talk with. Yeah.
Tell you what we'll do, guys. We'll put, after this video's up, we'll put them all in the description of the video, even if it's not until tomorrow. But we'll get that information from Josh and we'll put it in there. So if you guys do want to.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with my co-director and producer, and we'll give you guys a couple good options that are not GoFundMe related. So if you guys want to help us out, that would be fantastic.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Well,
Like,
we're going to try maybe at some point in the next week or so to drop just some little clips of like things that we've shot, just so people can get an idea of where it's heading. Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Right now, the teaser is like 6 minutes long. It's just, again, it's got a lot of footage in there. So even that, like, we have to be so careful, because the last thing we're trying to do is get sued. And I mean, the idea of CBS suing a 95-year-old John Drummond would probably not be a good look. But even still, I don't want to put John through that. There's just no reason for it. So we're trying to obviously do things as ethically as possible.
John likes everything on the up and up.
Yes, he does.
He does.
He's a great guy.
That's awesome. It's got to be really cool working with him, and I know the feeling of stumbling across somebody and going, "Oh my God, what are you doing with all these stories? You haven't written this. We're going to document this. You got to like document it now." So that's got to be a great feeling to work with.
It's awesome. And I think what we're doing is also super unique, because we're essentially, it's not just a standard documentary of here's what happened and why. We're telling the story through John's eyes. So John's taking us through the history of it, but also throwing in his own personal anecdotes and experiences of things that he's encountered. So it's different in that sense. It's kind of, like I said, like The Last Dance, where it's more like you're going through the history of the Bulls, but it's all through the lens of Jordan himself. In this case, you're going through the history of the Chicago outfit, but through the eyes of a famous crime reporter.
John asked me years ago, he said, "Red, you got to write a book." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "When you're gone, nobody's going to know your story." He kept saying that to me over and over. So I wrote a book. Yeah. He's one of the people who talked me into it.
He's got, I think, two. I think he signed both of them too.
He signed both of mine to me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's awesome. Yeah, novels, it's a good thing. And that's the other thing too, is just
he mentioned me in both of his books. Both of his books he talks about me. And I said, "I gotta have an autographed copy, John." And that's what he told me. "You should write a book." Red,
of course. Yeah, you can't not have him do that.
No. So this is going to be his legacy.
That's what we're hoping for. I mean, it's when he was telling me all these stories, I'm like, these have to be told properly. Obviously, like, he's had a few CBS interviews and things like that, but I don't think anyone who isn't from Chicago, or isn't just maybe really into the Chicago outfit specifically, is aware of his contributions. And I mean, he's part of the reason that they got so much coverage in the first place. I mean, he really pushed, like he was telling me, and we get into it in the doc, that he had to push the news directors to like go and cover this stuff when no one else would.
Marshall.
Yeah.
They pushed him when they did an interview with me. He said, "I need," and they were cheap. They told him, you only get X amount of dollars for this. I need more money. And they were they're what they were.
Yeah.
It's a Bulldog.
Yeah. What part of Chicago are you from?
So I'm from the northern burbs, like Buffalo Grove area.
Okay.
Well, I say Chicago, but it's Chicago metropolitan.
The Wheeling, Buffalo Grove area. I don't know. It's all built up out there now.
It's getting better.
Did you have an interest in the Chicago outfit at all, or the history of it, before you met John Drummond?
I did. You know what it was, and we actually asked John about this, and you guys, I'm sure, would know the story, because it was unfortunately the sickest thing I've ever read. I've never read an account like this of the death of William Action Jackson.
Oh my God!
Yes,
it's horrible.
You read, and I believe it was Sam Giancana, right?
Sammy D.
Stefano. That's what it was.
He was shooting him in the chest, saying "puss belly," and he kept shooting him in the belly in the basement. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
The testicles and the blowtorch.
Oh yeah, and they. I mean, if you read the Wikipedia page, it's brutal. They took a meat hook and they strung him up through.
It's horrible.
I mean, just horrible things. And I guess I asked John if he had any encounters with DeStefano. He said he had one that I guess they were trying to potentially use DeStefano for the Godfather film when it was coming out, and I think John 72. Yeah,
1971, 72, around that area.
he was something. They were asking something about that. I know John had a little bit of collaboration, or not collaboration, but a few discussions with him regarding that topic. But I don't think it ever went beyond like surface level with DiStefano.
There's something that I don't know if you're going to cover it or not, but Sam called a radio station. Sam DiStefano, he called a radio station. It was just thaw in the spring, and he said everybody's pipes in the neighborhood were frozen up. And he said, I had this dream. I remember hearing this on the radio in Chicago. And he said, I had this dream. And he said, there's a body, and it was somebody that he killed, and he was
really
in the sewer. They threw him down the sewer. And I guess everything froze, and he froze, and it clogged up the sewer. And then all of a sudden, he didn't have anything, so he actually called in on a radio station.
Wow.
Sam was nuts.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think that's why, if I'm not mistaken, they ended knocking him off. Was just even for the mafia, they're like, this is too crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was to answer your question too again, Adam. I was also gonna say when John started telling me the stories, that's when I really started to read into it, because now you're hearing firsthand accounts of all of these things, and it's just unbelievable. Like even Accardo, people don't talk about him much, which is crazy. Everyone, and we talk about this in the documentary, how everyone focuses on the 5 families in New York, but no one operated like the Chicago outfit, and Accardo never went to prison, not once.
No.
And he said the only time that he ever saw the big guy get mad was, I guess, there were people that broke into one of his houses.
The burglaries. That's the only time he blew his stack. And he actually was talking to Jackie Cerrone, and they had a tape of it.
People got killed over that or something. Like they wiped out so many crews to make sure they got the crew that did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy story. Yeah.
And I remember John was telling me that he said Accardo basically put out a hit. He's like, I don't care, go after anyone who this could be.
Anything that walks, crawls, that broke into my house.
And you guys may know there was one guy, I forget his name, Beetle, or it starts with a B, and the guy went and took a lie detector test.
Beal.
Because he was so terrified of what they were going to do to him. If it turned out to potentially be true. He's like, it wasn't me. I'll do whatever I need to do to acquit myself.
Yes. That's history.
Yeah.
And John's very a stickler on having everything accurate. So that's great. This is going to be something I'm dying to see.
I'm going to try to leak some footage. Maybe I could send it over to you guys. Maybe if you want, you could put it on your channel or something. You guys could be the first to air some of it.
Shoot, anything we can do to help you out, Josh, and make this thing happen, we will definitely do for you, because it's important. It's important to preserve the history, and if we can help with our viewers, to raise some of the money, definitely, man. So,
yeah, that would.
Did he talk about anything before he was in Chicago, like Minneapolis or?
Yeah, so
when he got out of the Air Force, he went to Minneapolis, I believe.
So the first interview we actually did with him was more about his life story. So it was less about mafia-related stuff. It was more just about John Drummond, the reporter, how he came to be. So we have, again, probably an hour and a half of just him talking about how he came to be, his years in the Navy, and then how that transitioned into
Air Force.
Air Force. Thank you. Air Force, not Navy. Air Force. And how he kind of transitioned out of that and then went to work, I believe it was Iowa, WBBM, and then, how he made his way down to CBS.
Carol was a driving force behind him, his wife.
Yes. So we do have all of that. It's just, and maybe that's something, what we could do is just air that interview at some point for just people that are curious to see him. It's just, as we said, we're trying to tailor it more towards the mafia stuff and his experiences with that, rather than just John Drummond, the documentary, essentially.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it come out, and again, anything we can do, you let us know. We're going to put the all the links in the description, so if you guys you want to check back in the next day, and you'll see the links. If not, I'm sure we're going to talk about it in the future weeks. and we'll put the links in all the videos for you as well, Josh, so that everybody will.
This is
I greatly appreciate that.
You might find this interesting. Somebody made a comment here, and I thought it was funny. He's talking about Johnny Russo. In his case, he made a "You Believe Me," not a GoFundMe. He made a "You Believe Me."
Yes.
So
Johnny Russo for the Godfather.
I will also, I'll just add too, it's funny. I apologize. I'm in bed right now. I tore my ACL and meniscus. So right before I had surgery, I actually went to John's house to shoot that GoFundMe video because I knew I was going to be held up. I could probably show you. I'm in full brace here. Yeah. But I was determined. I'm like, I got to get this out there. I got to get this done. So I went to John's house, set up, made sure to get that in the can. But yeah, we're working hard. And I just want to, again, give you one more sincere thank you to both of you guys. This means a lot. We're really happy to hear that you guys have been so supportive of this project, and appreciate everyone in your community as well that's willing to participate. And by the way, for those watching, even if you can't donate yourself personally, even just sharing the link really greatly helps.
Yeah, share it. And guys, don't forget to hit the like button too and the subscribe button. I hadn't had a chance to say that in the last hour, but hit the like and the subscribe.
Absolutely.
We'll be back.
Buddy, you actually used one of his terms, and nobody uses this anymore except people that have been around a while. It's in the can.
Yeah, I think I've been hanging around with him too much. I'm starting to pick up a lot of his mannerisms.
When I tell people they don't understand what it is because everything's digital now.
Yeah, it's very true.
So before it was even VHS or whatever, when it was taped, it was actually film that was in the can.
Yeah. Someone I saw, I think a few people asked where John got his name. You know what I might do? If I can actually drop it to you, I have video of him talking about how the Bulldog came up. I believe it started from like a newspaper headline.
It did.
And then it just kind of ran from there. But I do have video of him answering that exact question, which maybe I can send that to you guys. You could throw it up on your channel.
I remember Bill Curtis introducing him as John the Bulldog Drummond.
Yes.
Definitely, Josh. We will put that. Definitely, Josh. We'll put that up and,
cool.
And share that around. And maybe we can even have you on again in the next.
Happy to.
Yeah, awesome. Would love to talk about it more. And but for now, we're gonna
no problem.
This with that. So you have a great day. Everybody have a great day. Red, thank you again for being on. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Thank you so much.
Adios.
Yo, Bugsy, it says here they got something called the Vegas Mob Tour.
Yeah, Bobby, ain't you heard? It's all about our old friends Sam Giancana, Meyer Lansky, Mo Dalis, and of course yours truly, Bugsy Siegel.
Are you kidding? A mob tour about us?
Yeah, they take you to where we used to hang out and to all the places where we used to do our crimes.
You mean they expose all our secrets?
Yeah, but it's okay, because we ain't around anymore. So let's face it, we can't get busted.
Hey, you think we could sneak on board and check this out?
Of course we can. Forget about it. They'll never even know we're there.